In order to navigate to the trigger page, you can click the configuration icon on the left, then the application tab on the top. Finally, make sure the trigger tab is selected in the application page. Triggers are used to run specific features and scripts at certain events. To add a new trigger, select the Create New Trigger button. To configure a trigger, select an event source and event from the Configuration section. Available general events are selectable from the source list. The cyclical event source allows triggers to be fired after the specified number of cycles. The process event source refers to the start of production. The workflow event source refers to workflow within a process. Right now, only one workflow can exist in a process. The program event source refers to a single program within a workflow. You can also specify the context for workflow, process, and program as only in production, only in creation, or always. The application source event allows you to set up triggers for execution on application startup and shutdown. The time event source is for triggers that need to execute once after or every specified amount of time on selected pages. The user event source will execute every time a user logs in. Error can be set up to execute a trigger when an error is active or cleared. The navigation source is for triggers that need to be executed every time the specified page is navigated to or away from. You can select multiple pages this trigger applies to. When wait for completion is checked, the trigger will hold up the application until execution is finished, instead of running parallel to other application processes. This way, the trigger gains priority. Lock triggers are for PVA use only. When the event scheduler is selected, a trigger will only run once within the given time period. Here is an example of a trigger that will run at most once per day. To view all triggers, including locked ones, you can press on the Advanced Mode button in the top right corner. To edit a trigger, select a trigger step from the toolbox and drag it into the desired lane. Some steps have inputs that will need to be configured correctly to work as intended. Both lanes and trigger steps can be reordered in any desired order. Multiple scripts within the same lane run parallel to each other, and lanes run sequentially. Event schedulers are available for lanes and individual scripts as well. Triggers can be enabled and disabled with the checkboxes on the left. You can delete a trigger by clicking and holding the trash can button on the right. You can import triggers by clicking the Import button at the bottom of the trigger list, and export triggers by clicking the Export button on the trigger. To test triggers, you can run entire triggers from the Run Trigger button. You can also run individual lanes by pressing the Run Lane button.